All right. Sorry for the small delay. We had some technical difficulties, as we all do these days. So thanks for joining us for our Fall Pep Rally. My name is Mary Ocker Enders. I'm the campaign manager for the Dana Hamp-Gulick campaign. I am so excited about our pep rally tonight. And technical difficulties aren't going to hold us back. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I am so pleased that everybody is here, and I just want to kind of give you a little background on the campaign, lay a little bit of groundwork, and then I'm going to turn it over to Dana, who is going to just tell you a little bit about herself. But before we get to Dana, I want to share some really exciting and important numbers from the campaign for everybody. So first big number we want to talk about is 9,000. 9,000 is how many voter contact calls we have made since the primary. So in about 2 months and 2 weeks, 2.5 months, we've made 9,000 voter dials. That's really awesome. 11,000 is our next big number. 11,000, we have sent a little over 11,000 postcards to voters in Dana's district since June 3rd. So 11,000, I think it's something like 11,063 actually. So that's also really amazing. Now this number is really exciting. 30,000. This is how much money Dana has raised in the last 5 weeks alone. For reference, in 2018, Dana's campaign raised less than this in her whole race, the whole campaign, the whole year, she raised less than $30,000. And this year, in just 5 weeks, she's raised $30,000. That is a hugely exciting number that we are very proud of, and Dana should be very proud of. And our last number is kind of a challenge, and we're going to be talking about this as we move forward through the pep rally. But I want you to keep this number in the back of your head as we're talking. And that number is 40,000. 40,000 is the number of voter contact dials we still need to make before Election Day. 40,000 calls. That's a lot. But we're all here tonight to talk about our strategy, how we're going to win in November, and how you can help us win in November. So I'm so excited that you're here. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, we shifted to streaming because we had such a huge response for the Zoom call that we were going to do, that we thought this is going to be so huge and unwieldy, we're just going to go ahead and stream it. So thank you again for being here. We're so excited. Remember those numbers: over 9,000 voter contact calls in 2.5 months. Over 11,000 postcards sent to voters over 2.5 months. $30,000 raised in about 5 weeks. And 40,000 calls that we still need to make. So very exciting. Let's move on with our program and meet the lady of the hour, Dana Hamp-Gulick, who is gonna just introduce herself to you and talk a little bit. Go ahead, Dana.
Thank you, Mary. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad you're here with us this evening. I appreciate you taking some time out of your day and out of the beginning of your weekend to talk with us about our campaign. As Mary said, we are really excited about all the work that we've been doing. And very, very encouraged about the work that we need to do. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and the things that I believe in and why I'm running. And then we'll hear from some of the wonderful interns that have been working on the campaign this summer and that will be organizing for us this fall. So for most of my life, I was very comfortable and I had opportunity. I knew very little about suffering and challenges. I grew up in a middle-class family in Manheim Township with a public school teacher and an ad executive as my parents. I benefited from a first-class public education, and I went on to earn 2 degrees from the University of Pittsburgh. After college, I started my career in marketing with Armstrong World Industries. I bought a house, I got married, I had a beautiful, healthy child, and then I even moved to Hawaii for a number of years. So you could say that I lived the American dream, and I wouldn't disagree with you. But I've also lived a version of the American nightmare. Several years into my marriage, while living nearly 5,000 miles from my family and my support networks, my ex-husband's previously well-concealed mental illness began to reveal itself, aggravated by a serious job site injury, multiple surgeries, and prescription opioid painkillers. I was working part-time. He stopped working. Our bills mounted quickly and we faced eviction. I was going to food banks and we were surviving on SNAP benefits. Over time, he became delusional and dangerous, and my young daughter and I had to leave. We spent 3 months living in a domestic violence shelter in Honolulu, followed by 6 months living at the YWCA. Eventually, we were able to return to Pennsylvania through what is called a flight to freedom, provided to domestic violence survivors and paid for by the state of Hawaii. When we arrived, we had 2 suitcases and each other. Now, I tell you all of this because I know what it's like to live a nightmare through no fault of your own. And I know what it's like to lose everything you've worked for and have to rebuild. And I know what it's like to need the social safety net. I believe it's my responsibility to use my knowledge and my experience and the privilege that I still have to help others. Because any of us, even on this call, could be one illness, one injury, or one layoff away from the financial abyss. And looking around, we see just how true this is. During this historic national crisis, we've seen neighborhood businesses shuttered for good. We've seen parents, and particularly mothers, leaving the workforce in droves, forced out by the lack of support for families trying to navigate working and childcare. But even before the shutdown in America, 40% couldn't afford a $400 emergency. In Lancaster County, tens of thousands of families survive on SNAP benefits every month. And in our school districts in the 97th, Warwick and Manheim Township, 1 in 3 students qualifies for free or reduced lunch. Our communities are changing rapidly, and the needs of our neighbors are changing with it. But what is not changing rapidly, and something that we know for sure, is that our lawmakers are failing us. They aren't in office for every family. They're there to protect profits, and they aren't interested in protecting us or working for us. They're interested in protecting their power and then pulling the ladder up behind them. As your state representative, I will work for every family to be safe, healthy, and thriving because we can be, and frankly, because we must be. It is time to prioritize our families being safe. We can elect representatives who take this pandemic seriously, providing policies that protect workers and families, students and teachers, and that keep our communities afloat while we battle this virus. But we need to look past the pandemic and behind it to address some fundamental issues of safety, like protecting our land, air, and water heritage, and enacting smart gun policies that respect gun ownership while preventing and addressing the epidemic of gun violence. I will work for every family to be healthy. We don't have to wait for Washington, D.C. to figure it out. There are actions we can take at the state level right now to provide affordable care to all Pennsylvanians. We also can and must address criminal justice reform and all that comes with it. No one can be truly healthy if they fear for their life every time they step outside the door. And we must and can fully fund our school systems, addressing equity issues for our schools and our teachers that are now being put on the front lines of this pandemic. And lastly, we have to set up our families to thrive. That means a livable minimum wage, but it also means family-friendly policies that support working parents and caregivers. I myself am a member of the so-called sandwich generation. I'm caring daily for aging parents while raising a teenager, working full-time, and running for office. And the pressures of all these roles combined can sometimes be overwhelming. But I know I'm not the only one dealing with this. And I also know that we can alleviate some of this pressure with good policy. And here's the great news. Now is the time. Look at what we've done together over the last several years. The momentum is here and the energy is here in this district of the 97th. 2020 is a year of tremendous challenge and tremendous opportunity. And we must all engage fully, which is why I'm so glad you've taken the time to be with us tonight, because this could be the beginning for you of fully engaging in our campaign and helping us win. We cannot afford to waste this chance, because together we can take our Lancaster County values of working hard, of helping our neighbors, and of a rising tide lifting all boats to Harrisburg. With this election, we can change this seat. We can put a Democrat and a woman in this seat for the first time, and we can amplify all of your voices. Together, we can make it so that your family and every family can be safe, healthy, and thriving. Thank you for your time and for giving me a moment to introduce myself. I'm now going to turn over the rally to several of our interns who've been working hard with us this summer, and they're going to tell us about the work they've been doing, as well as a program that they have started with some other young voters called Our Turn.
Hello, so my name is Madeline and I'm one of Dana's interns for this summer. And excitingly enough, I've actually decided that I'm going to continue working with the campaign this fall as an organizer, which I cannot wait for. I actually start next week and I'm just thrilled to continue working with everyone. I'm also a Manheim Township graduate. I graduated in 2018 from Manheim Township High School and I'm now a college student. So first of all, why did I choose to intern for Dana? Aside from the fact that she is a woman running for a traditionally male-dominated field, even just from listening to her speeches and from following her policies and her issues that she supports, it is so clear to me that she's a woman who is so invested and passionate about the policies that she's fighting for. And then when I interviewed to intern with her, it was so clear to me the way that she and Mary, her campaign manager, interacted. It just seemed that they were so much more like friends than like coworkers. And I knew that that environment would be so present as an intern and within the entire staff. And I was just looking forward to that a lot. So now I'm an intern and I'm just going to show you a little bit about what our weekly experiences are like and what we kind of do. So the first thing that we do is we make phone calls. These are so important, especially right now, because it allows us to ID voters as well as get new volunteers and really get Dana's name out there. So as an intern, I make about 150 calls a week. And then as an organizer, I will make 300 a week minimum, just as voter outreach. And then additionally, we have three separate like subdivisions of interns. We have communications, we have field, and we have finance. And then in our separate little bubbles or separate, I guess, industries within the campaign, we all do separate work as well. So I work in field, so I do a lot of voter outreach, voter IDing, and volunteer outreach. And then communications deals with social media, and fundraising deals with, or finance deals with fundraising. And it's been such a great experience for me. Something that really stands out, which I could tell right off the bat, is the atmosphere. One thing that I just love about it is we have a little pep rally group chat where every time something good happens, we'll send it in the group chat and be like, oh, this exciting thing happened. Usually they're related to the campaign. Sometimes they're not. And it really just embodies this really positive atmosphere of where I'm working. And it just makes me so excited that I'm staying on till the fall. Additionally, we have Zoom calls sometimes where we all phone bank together, and it just adds a bit of camaraderie to these calls and makes it much more enjoyable, and it makes it feel like we're working as a team together. And I'm just so excited to stay on with the team. It's been such a positive experience. And one of my favorite things that I've done is I've worked with the other field interns and then eventually the entire staff to create Our Turn. So I'm going to turn it over to Jeremy, who is one of my co-field interns, and he's going to chat a little bit about what Our Turn is.
Thanks, Madeline. Yeah, so Our Turn was, it was almost a spontaneous thing that sort of the field interns sort of came up with, because we've been hearing so many people in our community drawn by Dana's message and wanting to help out, and especially those who are still in high school, those who might not be able to vote. And so we wanted to come up with a program and like a way to help give these young people voices that are very much justly due. So we sort of spitballed it just sort of at one of our field meetings, and then it sort of grew into what it is now. We have about a half dozen people from high school to college age that just sort of help us out. We sort of spitball ideas off of each other. We will sometimes do phone calls together. We'll have meetings together and just sort of talk about how youth voices really do matter, especially now with everything that's going on. It really affects everyone. There's a lot of people who said for a while that politics was mostly for adults. And I think that we're seeing right now, especially as everyone turns their eyes to schools coming up, that there needs to be also a voice of those who are most directly impacted, the students. So I think what's so cool about working on this campaign is like we get to have so much of our own voice and our own direction and everything, that we were able to basically make our own group within the campaign and sort of run it ourselves, something that you would never see in a larger campaign or one that was a bit more top down. This is really a bottom up grassroots movement in a lot of ways. And you can really see that. I think it is best exemplified through Our Turn. Um, and just been such a great way to sort of build, I think, community bonds across different people in township and Warwick and in the area across different grades of township. Some of us graduated a long time ago, some of us are still there. And I think it's just really cool to build community for such a good cause. But enough about me talking about it. Let's let one of our high school art turn volunteers sort of talk more. I'm going to turn it over to Sophie.
Yeah, of course. My name is Sophie Yost. I am going to be a junior at Manheim Township High School. I kind of saw Our Turn being advertised and signed up right away. Like Jeremy said, within the teenage community right now, there's such a pulse for change. And we're all kind of just sick and tired of seeing these old politicians trying to kind of just put their own agendas forward without kind of caring about the younger generation. And through that pulse, we see, and we're kind of frustrated because we know that we're taking this over in the end. And I'm kind of honored to see that Dana really cares about our input, because we were almost forced to kind of look and see the challenges within the world, to kind of grow up quickly and see what change is needed. But with that being said, it's really exciting to see that she wants us here and she wants our voice to be heard. And through that, like Jeremy said, I do a lot of phone banking. We kind of bounce ideas off of each other in our group me chat. And it's a really nice community to kind of see how I can kind of see interns that I look up to and see my peers and be able to agree with people and bounce ideas off of how to make this campaign the best it can be. And it's a really great place to have our input heard and really be able to make a difference, even if I can't vote. Because obviously, being able to have a change in our community locally will eventually change the world. And I think that that's something really important to see right now with so many issues going on. And we're all kind of lost. So I think that through these grassroots movements and things like that, we can really see this change build up. And I'm really excited to see where Our Turn goes. And with that, I want to say that we're always looking for new people to join Our Turn, peers of mine, anyone, just to bounce ideas off each other, phone bank, everything helps. And it would be amazing if people would join after this call. And yeah, with that being said, I will pass it over to Chad.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chad, and I'm the comms director for Dana's campaign, and I'm an 8th grade science learning facilitator. So if we reflect back to when Mary was on, she was holding up those signs. She had a bunch of numbers there for us. So to touch base with that again, with this campaign after the primary, we have made 9,000 phone calls. We've written over 11,000 postcards. We've raised over $30,000, but we still have 40,000 phone calls left to make. So as you can tell from these numbers, they are all massive. There's this huge momentum behind this campaign. For a local election, this is like virtually unprecedented. Now, touching into my science roots, with this like huge momentum, I think of this big wave that is coming. And the more water droplets we get into this wave, the longer it is until it crests, and the bigger of an impact that it has when it does. So I think of every volunteer, myself, our interns, our high school kids in Our Turn, every one of us are little water droplets in this momentum, in this wave. The more people we have, the more power and the more impact that we can have in this small local election. And it really does matter. So I need you guys to all do one thing for me, okay? This is where my teacher roots come in. I need you to grab a writing utensil and something to write with, okay? Something to write on. It can be an electronic device. I don't care. I'm going to give you guys 5 seconds. All right. So I have some things that I need you to write down. First of all, I need you to pick a number between 50 and 100. Any number between 50 and 100. Write that down right now. Okay. All right. Now, next, what I need you to do is write down this information. Tuesdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Thursdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Saturdays from 10 to noon, and Sundays from 3 to 5 p.m. I'm going to say that again because that was a lot. All right. Tuesdays from 2 to 4 p.m., Thursdays from 5 to 7 p.m., Saturdays from 10 to noon, and Sundays from 3 to 5 p.m. Okay, so look at that number that you just wrote down between 50 and 100. Can you commit next week, hard fast, to making that number of phone calls for this campaign? Can you make 50 phone calls for us? Can you top it and do 100? All right, as you can see, our interns are putting in the work. Can you match them? Can you top them? Okay, in COVID campaigning, calling is key. I did study English as well, so that was really important to me. I'll say that again. In COVID campaigning, calling is key. We have 40,000 phone calls left to make. Can you commit hard fast right now to that number that you wrote down on that paper? Every single phone call makes a difference and it has an impact. In talking with my friends in our group chat, we are all nervous about November. But what helps me sleep at night is knowing that I'm working on this campaign. I am putting blood, sweat, and tears, everything that I have into this, because I know that this matters and it is important. And we all need to do that so that in November, we don't wake up with those 2016 regrets and like, oh, I wish that I would have done that one more thing. I wish I would have gotten involved. Maybe if I would have done this, maybe if I would have made those 100 phone calls, the election would have been different. Now is your time to get involved. Okay, we need to leave it all on the table in November, and now is the time to get started and get involved. And this is the campaign with the energy and momentum behind it. And this is the one that you want to join and help us bring Dana to Harrisburg in November. With that, I'm going to turn it over back to the campaign manager, Mary.
All right, thank you to everybody who's spoken. Thank you, Dana, introducing yourself, Madeline, Jeremy, Sophie. It's been such a pleasure working with all of you. Chad, of course, who's been there since the beginning, been working with Chad for months and months now. So yeah, think about what Chad said. Do we want, take a second and remember in 2016, how you felt the morning after, right? And like, we all remember that so deeply. We remember, you know, where we were, how we called each other and said, is this real? Is this really happening? And think about the last, 4 years. Do you want to wake up on November 4th and think, I should have done this. I should have done one more thing. I could have done one more thing. I could have done more. I certainly don't. That's why I'm working super hard this year to get Dana elected. And why I think that you should sign up at our link. You can go to danaforpa.com/volunteer. If you are a high school student or, a younger voter, or young enough that you're not able to vote yet, but you want to get involved, you can go to danaforpa.com/ourturn, OURTURN, and sign up for Our Turn and do some calls with Sophie and Madeline and Jeremy and Miranda and Sophia and, all our wonderful, Alyssa, all our wonderful fall organizers. So we need your help. We need your help. And I'm going to make one more ask of you. So, Chad made the ask for you to make some phone bank calls, and I definitely want you to do that too. We need to make those 40,000 calls, and I know that you can help us do it. But I want to make one more ask for you. For the first time ever, ever in since the inception of this seat, we have been rated as a flippable or in-play seat. For the first time ever. That's so exciting. If you live here in Lancaster County, you know that the Democrat is in Lancaster City and everywhere else is solidly Republican, but that is changing. It's no longer true. And this year, for the first time, outside groups are telling us that seat can flip, that seat can flip. So I'm telling you, this seat can flip. But to get that done, first time ever, first time ever that we could flip it, first time ever it's in play to flip. To get that done, we need your help. We need you to make phone bank calls, but we also need you to give. We need you to contribute to the campaign, invest in this campaign. This is where the momentum is. This is where the energy is. And we need you to partner with us to help get Dana to Harrisburg. for the first time in probably all of your memories, we could have a Democrat outside the city representing us in Harrisburg. If you don't live in Dana's district, that's okay. Think about what we could do with a Democratic governor and a Democratic majority in Harrisburg. Think about the things that we could get done. Think about how for 30 years, we've seen a Republican majority in Harrisburg chip and chip and chip away at things that are valuable to us, our education system, healthcare access, public benefit programs. We've seen these like little chips adding up over almost 3 decades of Republican majority control. We're at the point right now, we only need to flip 9 seats in the whole state, 9 seats to take back majority control in the House. That's so exciting. And we are going to be one of these seats. The 97th is going to be one of those seats. So it doesn't matter if you live in Dana's district or not. You benefit from getting that seat flipped. You benefit, we all do, from getting a Democratic majority in Harrisburg. So if those are things that are important to you, the things that Dana talked about, ending gun violence, improving access to health insurance and healthcare, education equity, all of these things, if these things matter to you, then it doesn't matter if you live in her district or not. This is the place to invest your time. This is the place to invest your money. And we so appreciate your help. We want your support, and you can help us by making a donation right now. I will put the link in the chat, but you can go right now to danaforpa.com/donate, make your donation. If you get our emails, you've seen we have a really big fundraising goal that we're trying to reach. Tomorrow is our deadline. That's crazy. We've been working on it for 5 weeks. That's how we raised that big money in the last couple of weeks. But we're not there yet. We're really, really, really close, but we're not there yet. So I'm asking you, anything that you can contribute, $5, $50, $150, anything you can contribute is going to help us get to that big deadline goal, because as you might know, if you're familiar with politics, you have to raise money to raise money. So help us show bigger organizations and bigger donors we're a viable campaign. We have over 500 individual donors. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's a huge amount for a state ledge campaign. And we are so proud of that. We're so proud of that. But we need you to add your name. So help us out. Help Dana get that goal. She's so close. It would just kill us if we didn't make it when we're so close. Tomorrow's our deadline. Again, you can go to danaforpa.com. That's danaforpa.com/donate. And you can donate right online there. I'll also put a link in the YouTube comments, and I will also put a link on our Facebook page to remind you again, we're very, very, very close to our fundraising goal for this deadline. And we know that you guys are going to help us push it over the edge. So with that, I'm going to introduce Dana to wrap it up. Here we go. Let's go into November. We're, motoring hard, and this is the place to put your time and your investment. All right, take it away, Dana.
All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Chad, Madeline, Sophie, Jeremy. Just so excited for this pep rally and for everything that everybody has shared. As I said earlier, I'm thrilled that you've taken some time to be with us. I think that speaks very highly of how engaged you are already. And now you've heard right from the campaign exactly what we need. We need all of you to be as involved and active in this campaign as you possibly can be, because we will be pushing from the bottom up to change the seats and make them blue up and down the ballot. And this seat, as Mary said, for the very first time is not seen as reliably Republican. So I'll say that again, not reliably Republican. Huge, huge opportunity this year that we don't want to waste. We want to grab this thing by the horns and we want to yank it over the finish line, because you all deserve to be heard in Harrisburg, and you haven't been being heard in Harrisburg because we haven't been able to get enough people there that represent your perspective, that represent your progressive values. So just to reiterate, we need volunteers to make phone calls, thousands and thousands of phone calls. COVID has made it so that we cannot knock doors this year. Otherwise, we would be doing that by the thousands as well. So any time that you can help us with that is greatly appreciated. We need postcards written. Again, we've written 11,000 postcards. We need to write thousands more. We need to reach as many of the voters in this district as we possibly can and make sure they know who I am, what I stand for, and what our opportunity is together if we can win this election. We need dollarly love, as I've heard it put, because it takes money to run a campaign like this, and COVID has introduced challenges that we would not otherwise have, and therefore increase the expenses exponentially. So anything you can do to help us finance the work that we need to do, the work that we've been doing so aggressively over the last several months, we're going to head into the fall with as much momentum and passion and hard work as we can possibly muster. But we need your help powering that engine, both as people and as dollars. And then lastly, I want to say yard signs are coming. And I know everybody's always clamoring for yard signs, and yard signs are a really important aspect of campaigns in Lancaster County. So yard signs are coming. You can sign up for those on the website as well. We will have them in the next couple of weeks, and we are very excited to see them just pop up all over the district of Manheim Township, Lidditz, and Warwick. So once again, thank you for being here. Thank you for caring so deeply about this community that you would be willing to give your time and your effort and your energy. It really, really matters. And this year, more than any other year to date, we can make this happen. So thank you so much. I think that's our program for this evening, and we're going to say goodbye. I'm going to ask everybody to come back on screen and just wave goodbye. I'm going to say thank you to the entire staff that joined us. Thank you so much, everybody. Let's go do this. Let's do it together.
We can do it.
We can do
Bye,
it.
everybody.
Thank you.